What really separates an elite athlete from a truly dedicated amateur? Let me give you a hint. It's not just some raw talent or outworking everyone. It's damn sure not about finding some magic workout or a secret supplement you saw an influencer selling. The difference is a system, a meticulously crafted framework built on actual science, executed with relentless consistency, and refined with an obsessive eye for detail. Now, while most people are out there chasing fatigue, thinking that if they are feeling totally wrecked, they might be making some level of progress, elite performers are chasing adaptation. They understand that stress is just the stimulus. The real magic happens in how the body responds and rebuilds. So in this video, we're going to be tearing down the complete science-based framework that the world's top hybrid athletes and most other athletes use to dominate. This isn't another top 5 tips list. This is going to be a masterclass in building your own personalized system for peak performance. You're going to learn the 5 core pillars of elite training, from programming and recovery that's actually based on evidence to the often overlooked world of training your brain. So by the end, you won't just know what they do, you'll understand why they do it, and how you can apply these same principles no matter where you're starting from. I didn't learn this framework from podcasts. I learned it from competing in national summer biathlons as a teenager in the 90s, and then pushing into ultra-distance racing, including the National 50-mile stage at 2008. Layer that with scientific background and years of coaching athletes, and this system comes from a live, stress, measured adaptation and a lot of uncomfortable lessons. Alright, Pillar 1. The foundation of any serious athletic pursuit isn't a random collection of workouts you stitch together from the internet. It's a structured, scientific blueprint. This is evidence-based programming, and it's run by a few non-negotiable principles that dictate how you get stronger, faster, and harder to break. The core of this is progressive overload. And no, that doesn't just mean piling more weight on the bar until you get a hernia. It's a systemic process of making your training harder over time to force your body to adapt. That could mean more volume, shorter rest periods, longer duration, or just moving more efficiently. For elite athletes, this progression is slow and brutally calculated to avoid the soft tissue injuries that pop up when you get a little too excited after that off season. But how do you structure this progression over an entire year? And that's where periodization comes in. And forget those old school linear models where you just do more over time. That is a fantastic way to hit a wall. Today's top athletes, especially hybrid athletes, use smarter models like block periodization, and we bring this up from time to time in a lot of videos for good reason. It bears repetition. This breaks the year into distinct phases or blocks, each one with a specific job. For instance, a hybrid athlete's year might look like this. You start off with the accumulation block. The goal here is to build your capacity for work with high volume and moderate intensity. Think of it as building a bigger engine. Then you have an intensification block. Now the focus flips to high intensity, low volume work. You're tuning that engine for maximum power, going after sport-specific strength and speed. Then you have the realization and taper block. Volume plummets to shed fatigue. This lets your body supercompensate and hit an absolute peak for competition day. This block structure lets you apply a highly concentrated training stimulus, which is what you need to keep making progress and you're already performing at a high level. For the self-coached athlete, just understanding this why is going to be a massive advantage. It stops you from program hopping and helps you build a logical long-term plan. Within these blocks, the principle of specificity is king. Your training has to look like the thing you're training for. For a hybrid athlete, this gets uniquely complicated. You don't just have to be strong or have good endurance, you have to produce force quickly on different terrains and manage crushing fatigue while doing technical skills. This means training is a carefully integrated mix of concurrent modalities, like combining high-intensity interval training with heavy strength work. It's a serious balancing act, often called the interference effect, where too much endurance work can literally kill your strength gains and vice versa. Elite programs manage this by separating hard leg days from hard running days by at least 24 hours and recognizing your upper body strength doesn't take as much as hit from cardio. And finally, within this all is variation. The body is an adaptation machine, and frankly, it gets bored. The more advanced you are, the more systemic variation you need to keep progressing sometimes. This is where you see concepts like undulating periodization, where training variables change more often. With a daily undulating periodization model, you might train for maximal strength on Monday, which is your heaviest weight, low reps, power on Wednesday, which is moderate weight, moving it fast, and then muscular endurance on Friday, which is lighter weight, higher reps. The constant shifting of stimulus smashes through plateaus and keeps the body guessing to some extent. Understanding these programming principles of progressive overload, periodization, specificity, and variation is what turns a random list of workouts into a lethal, effective system. It's the difference between training with purpose and just exercising. Pillar 2. Neurocognitive integration. You're going to start training with your brain. I know that sounds hard and difficult. So for decades, athletic performance has all been about the body, muscles, hearts, lungs. But the next real frontier of elite performance is already here, and it's the 3 pounds of jelly between your ears. Neurocognitive training is the practice of training the brain with the same intensity as the body, and for hybrid athletes, it's a game changer. This isn't just about mindset or being tough. It's about physically speeding up your brain's processing to improve reaction time, make better decisions when you're exhausted, and sharpen your coordination. Think about what a hybrid athlete goes through in an event like High Rocks. They're under insane physical stress, going from heavy sled push to a precision wall ball shot to an all-out run, all in a chaotic environment. In these moments, being strong is only half the battle. The athlete who wins is the one who can process information faster, make the right call under pressure, and stay focused when their body is screaming at them to quit. One of the most powerful tools here is going to be called brain endurance training, BET. This is where you combine physically brutal exercise with cognitive tasks. For an athlete, for example, an athlete might be on a stationary bike holding a high wattage while doing a complex memory task on a tablet. The goal is to make your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain in charge of decisions, more resistant to mental fatigue. Research shows that your body gets tired, your brain also gets tired, leading to bad decisions and sloppy technique. By training the brain to fight off that fatigue, athletes can execute skills perfectly deep into a race. Another key component here is enhancing visual and reactive skills. Elite athletes look like they have more time than everyone else. It's not magic, it's a highly trained perceptual cognitive system. They use tools like light boards to train their reaction speed, which translates directly to better coordination and anticipation. When you add a decision-making element to any physical drill, it fundamentally changes how your body moves. By integrating neurocognitive training, athletes are preparing their bodies to perform not just powerfully, but safely under the chaos of competition. Visualization and virtuality are also becoming secret weapons in the elite toolkit. By mentally rehearsing a race or by using VR to stimulate the competition floor, athletes are firing the same neural pathways they use in the real thing. This locks in motor patterns, cuts down on errors under pressure, and makes the chaos of race day feel familiar. The advantage for a self-coached athlete here is enormous. You don't need a fancy lab with brain scans. You can use brain training apps during your warm-ups. You can do dual task drills, like bouncing a tennis ball against a wall while balancing on one leg. You can meticulously visualize your next race, picturing every step and every obstacle. You are no longer just going to be training your muscles then, you are upgrading your entire operating system. Alright, for pillar number 3, this is one about radical individualization, the N of 1 experiment. I'm going to be brutally clear on this one. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all program, period. That generic program you found online might work for a bit, but you will eventually hit a ceiling. It was designed for a generic person, and you are not generic. This is where the third pillar really comes into play, because the key to unlocking what you're actually capable of, every athlete needs to do an N of 1 experiment. A unique mess of genetics, biomechanics, recovery capacity, and injury history make up you. Ignoring that is the fastest way to get stuck, frustrated, and injured. An elite program is built for the athlete, that one individual athlete. This starts with a deep dive into their unique physiology. For instance, we know certain gene variants like ACTN3 are more common in elite power athletes because they relate to fast twitch muscle fibers, while variants in the ACE gene are linked to elite endurance performance. You're probably not running out to get your genome sequenced tomorrow, but the point is this: your genetics give you a specific starting line and the different potential for adaptation. An individualized program has to hammer your weaknesses. A power-dominant athlete might need a huge block focused on building their aerobic base, while an endurance junkie might need to finally focus on building raw, maximal strength. That would be me. Your body structure and injury history are also non-negotiable. Two athletes can deadlift, but with different kind of limb lengths and hip sockets, their perfect form will look completely different. A good program accounts for this, picking exercise variations that fit your body to maximum gains and minimize risk. If you have a history of shoulder impingement, a program full of overhead pressing without any smart modifications is just asking for a trip to the doctor. Individualization means you work with your body, not against it. And this goes beyond the physical too. An athlete's life, their high-stress job, their family has to be factored in. You cannot follow a pro's 20-hour-week training plan if you're not a pro. A truly individualized program is realistic. And this is why self-coach athletes who learn to actually listen to their bodies often smoke those who blindly follow a template. They learn their own recovery signals and what kind of training they respond to best. The process of individualization starts with assessments. Performance tests to find your strengths and weaknesses, like your 1-rep max squat versus your 5K time. Movement screens to find ticking time bombs in your biomechanics, and even neuroperformance tests for cognitive baseline. From there, you progress based on criteria, not the calendar. You don't move to the next block because your spreadsheet says week 4 is over. You move on because you earned it, because you hit the adaptation goals for that phase. And this is the power of self-coaching. By meticulously tracking your own data and listening to your own body's feedback, you can tailor your training with a precision no generic template can ever match. You become the scientist and the subject in your own performance experiment. All right, pillar 4. Let's talk about recovery. The thing most amateurs treat as an afterthought. Something you do if you have time. For the elite athlete, that's insane. Recovery is not the absence of training, it's an active, integrated, non-negotiable part of the process. Without it, the other pillars don't just weaken, they will crumble. Training provides a stimulus for growth, but the growth itself of getting stronger, faster, more resilient happens during recovery. Ignoring recovery doesn't just stall your progress, it actively reverses it. And the most powerful, criminally underrated recovery tool on the planet, sleep. It's not sexy, it doesn't cost anything, and it's also where the vast majority of your repair work gets done. This is when your body releases growth hormone, rebuilds muscle tissue, and your brain locks in your skills you learned that day. Study after study shows that getting more sleep directly improves reaction time, accuracy, and the physical power in elite athletes. Elites are obsessive about their sleep hygiene, consistent bedtimes, a cold, dark, quiet room, and cutting out screen time before bed. This isn't about being soft, it's a strategic weapon. Nutrition and hydration are the fuel for this recovery process. Your diet needs to be periodized right alongside your training. During a high volume block, your carbohydrate intake better be high to fuel the work and refill your glycogen stores. And during a taper, you can adjust that to optimize your body for competition. Nutrient timing is also critical. Getting protein and carbs in shortly after a brutal session can dramatically speed up muscle repair and glycogen replenishment. And hydration should be a no-brainer too. Even being slightly dehydrated tanks both your physical and cognitive performance. If you're truly interested also in metabolic health, I built a course around this. Check the link down in the comments below. But beyond sleep and food, elite athletes use active recovery strategies. These are going to be your low-intensity activities like a light jog or mobility work, designed to get blood flowing and clear out metabolic junk without adding more stress. But one of the biggest game changers in modern recovery science is the focus on your nervous system. Hard training jacks up your sympathetic nervous system, that's your fight or flight responses. You can't live in that mode. Recovery demands a shift to your parasympathetic rest and digest state. You can actually trigger the shift with slow, controlled breathing exercises during the day. Just a few minutes of box breathing can improve your heart rate variability, which is a key marker of how recovered you are. The smartest athletes aren't the ones who train the hardest, they're the ones who recover the smartest. They see the recovery not as a weakness, but as a biological necessity for supercompensation, which is a process where your body adapts to being stronger than it was before. For the self-coached athlete, this means you treat sleep like a training session. You actively manage your physiological state. Without recovery, you're not training, you're just digging yourself into a hole. And this brings us to the final pillar, the glue that holds all of this together, adaptation monitoring. Look, your training plan isn't the 10 Commandments. It's not set in stone. It's a living document that needs to breathe, that needs to evolve based on real-time feedback. You can't manage what you don't measure, and this is how you make sure progressive overload doesn't become progressive overtraining. Obviously, the game changer here has become wearable technology. Your Whoop strap, your Oura ring, your fancy Garmin, they're not just for counting your steps to the fridge anymore. They give you 24/7 analytics on your key physiological metrics. Let's start with heart rate variability. This should be your cornerstone of recovery monitoring, not some base guideline you can build your entire life around, though. It's a powerful tool. It's a powerful look into the state of your nervous system. Say a high HRV generally means you're recovered and ready to smash a hard workout. A chronically low HRV is an early warning that you're buried in fatigue, but it is not the baseline that you should go off of. You could have a low HRV for a lot of things and still go have a great workout. Then you have sleep tracking. This gives you objective data on how much deep and REM sleep you're actually getting. You can exactly see how that late night meal or doom scrolling session impacts your sleep quality, empowering you to make changes. And of course, your resting heart rate is a simple but brutally effective tool. If it's trending down over time, your fitness is improving. If it's suddenly spikes, you're either getting sick or you're not recovering. Now, I need to make this clear. These should be trend data, not one-time feedback data. Now, this stuff is so critical that the United States Olympic and Paralympic team has partnered with Oura to integrate this kind of physiological monitoring into their training, highlighting how central this data is at the highest level of sport. And here's the no bullshit part in all of this. The tech is only half the story. The data is useless without context, and that context is subjective feedback. How do you actually feel? Every morning, take 10 seconds to rate your sleep quality, energy, mood, soreness. The qualitative data is crucial, almost as much as the quantitative data. Your watch might say your HRV is great, but if you feel mentally fried and have zero motivation, that's your body telling you to back the fuck off. Listening to your body is a skill, and tracking these simple metrics is how you hone it. This combination of objective and subjective data creates a powerful feedback loop in your own brain. Let's say you're a few days into a high-intensity block. You see your HRV is tanking, your resting heart rate is up, and your soreness score is through the roof. That's a clear signal to make an adjustment. Not stop completely, just an adjustment. Maybe you swap out that HIIT session for an active recovery day, or just cut the volume in half that day. This is a real-time individualization mode. It's how you surf the line between enough stimulus and too much, which is where all progress is made. AI-powered tools are even emerging that can analyze this data to protect your fatigue and injury risk in real time. So for the self-coached athlete, this is about becoming a detective of your own physiology. Keep a log, track your metrics, pay attention to how you feel. Over time, you'll learn your body's signals and you can stop blindly following a rigid plan. This is the mark of truly intelligent training systems. If you got any value out of this deep dive, do me a solid and hit that like button. It tells the YouTube overlords that people want more real science and less fluff. And if you want to keep learning how to build your own elite system, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out what's next. I read every single comment, so if you have questions about any of these pillars, drop them below. So that's it. The 5 pillars that form the foundation of elite athletic performance. It's not one secret, it's a synergistic effect of a complete system. It starts with the pillar 1, your evidence-based programming, giving you a scientific roadmap so you're not just guessing in the gym. It's elevated by pillar 2, neurocognitive integration, training your brain to be as fast and resilient as your body. It's made brutally effective by pillar 3, which is your radical individualization, accepting that you are an experiment of one and tailoring everything to your unique body and life. It's also made sustainable by pillar 4, recovering as the performance driver, where you finally start treating sleep and rest like the performance enhancers. It's held together by pillar 5, adaptation monitoring, creating a constant feedback loop between your body and your plan. The journey to peak isn't about finding the perfect program. It's about building your own perfect system. It takes discipline, patience, and a deep curiosity about what you're actually capable of. Now, it's your turn to start building.